if you are an entrepreneur or a salesperson going online for the very first time, what is the exact right funnel that you can follow that's going to work for you the best every single time? If it doesn't work, what are the 2 or 3 reasons that you should look into and fix exactly those bullet points and avoid the noise, the confusion, and the lack of bullet point solutions that the online coaching industry throws at you? And finally, how do you scale your business all the way to your first 10 lakh rupee month online? We're going to be covering all of that in this video. So welcome to this video. My name is Dr. Rajat Sinha. I'm a medical doctor turned network marketing specialist. And in 2017, I was able to successfully use Facebook ads to scale my very first network marketing business. And in 2020 onwards, I've pretty much adopted the commission selling industry, insurance sellers, coach, consultant, trainers, agency owners, you've got freelancers, insurance sellers, network marketers, etc. So if you're selling a health product, coaching product, or a financial product, then this is the right place for you. Before I go ahead, I'm not a super coach or anything like that. In fact, I'm not even a coach of coaches or anything like that. Very, very simply, I've been able to take my business, which was selling financial products and health products, using Facebook ads, close a lot of deals in 2017. And then in 2020, when I was forcibly stuck at home in the middle of the lockdown, I was able to turn the whole thing into an online promotion model so that you don't ever have to get out of your home just in case there's a lockdown or just in case there's bad weather outside or traffic jams outside. Best to make money sitting at home. All right, so I'm just going to be sharing my learnings with you. Watch all the way till the end if you want to make 1 crore of rupees online in your business. All right, let's get started. So very simply, what exactly is a funnel? A funnel is an online system that you set up where you have already mastered prospect qualification and closing. So only after you've mastered closing, you've mastered qualification, then you go on to building a funnel. What exactly is a funnel? Funnel is a way of scaling and getting lots of traffic, lot of eyeballs, lots of prospects to see your offer or to see whatever it is that you have to sell, and an automated system in order to qualify these people and in order to close these people. That is why you need to be very good at qualifying, very good at closing. Otherwise, if the funnel doesn't really work, you will not know what part of the funnel is not really working. All right. What exactly is the best funnel to use if you're going online for the very first time? Now, there are 4 different traffic sources that you can find online. What are the 4 different traffic sources? The first is social media, which is you try to make some posts on Instagram, try to make some posts on YouTube, try to change your WhatsApp status 50,000 times a day, and you expect some people to take notice. And when they take notice, you chat with them, etc., etc. That is called the social media organic approach. The second thing is you run business ads. You apply your credit card to a business algorithm like the Facebook Business Suite, and you let money do the work for you, where for 100, 200 rupees per day, Facebook is going to put you in front of a couple of thousand to probably even 5,000, 10,000 people per day. The third method is if you can utilize other people's members, which means other people who already have similar communities. You can do a guest lecture at these communities, just like in traditional business, you become a part of BNI or Rotary or something like that, and you're able to add some value, and in return, people give you some business. You can use other people's members in online communities. And the fourth part is you can use your content, which is you can contribute your content to Medium, you can contribute your content to e-zines and other such networks where it is likely to be seen by a lot of people. And these content distribution engines are always looking for people like you to contribute free articles because they are under pressure to create content on a daily or on a weekly basis. So these are the 4 sources of traffic that you can use in scaling your business online. Now, what is the best method if you are a total beginner? If you are a total beginner, what I suggest and the thing that has worked the best for me is the Facebook Business Suite, which is this particular method, which is business ads. How do you do that? You set up a business account with Facebook, which is free to set up, attach your credit card, get it verified. And then if you make a video ad or if you make a text ad or even an image ad and apply 100, 200 rupees budget to it, in about a day's time, it's going to put you in front of thousands of people. Some people can click a button and come straight to WhatsApp you. They can click a button to call you. They can click a button to come inside your automated ecosystem, which could be a landing page or a lead form. All right. That is the number 1 best source of traffic if you are beginning. Okay. What do you do with this traffic when people actually see you on Facebook? What is it? Where does that button lead to? My favorite method is to take them to a lead form or a landing page. Okay. A lead form is something that lies inside of Facebook, and a landing page is something that lies inside your ecosystem, which means you own the property. If it's a landing page, it's a web page that you own, it's on your domain. Or if you want to do it even faster, if you don't want to get into the hassle of setting up a web page, you don't want to learn any web technology, that's totally fine. There is a concept inside the Facebook Business Suite which is called lead forms. You can set up a mini landing page inside the Facebook ad itself. So when people click a button, boom, the form shows up. There are some qualifying questions and they can put in their name, email, phone number, and then you can route them to wherever it is that you want them to go. Some more information, maybe a value video, maybe a calendar where they can book a meeting. Okay, so the two best sources of finding leads is Facebook lead forms, okay, and or sending them to your landing page, which is a conversion lead. All right, now there are other ways to get leads from Facebook Business Suite. You can move them direct to your WhatsApp, you can move them direct to your call, you can do other things like chatbots and stuff like that. I won't get into all of that. The two things that work very well for me is lead forms inside the Facebook algorithm, so that you get their name, email, phone number, and they have the option to contact you. You also have the option to contact them. Okay, the next thing is a landing page. Once they put in their name, email, phone number, and they go to a thank you page where you can just give your calendar, so they have the option to book a meeting with you. If they don't, no problem, you or somebody from your team has the option to call them and grab them for a meeting. Okay, so those are the two things that work very well for me. Now, what is it that you do after they actually sign up? Maybe they've booked a meeting with you. What is it that you do over here? Very, very important. Like I said, you have to master qualification. You have to master reminders and show up rates so that people actually come to your sales meeting. If you haven't figured this out, then chances are the funnel is not going to work for you. And when the funnel doesn't work for you, there is a whole army of online specialists who are going to try to come and sell you their stuff and say, hey, try to do this, do that. And the only issue I have with that is none of them provide bullet point solutions, and most of them provide a lot of nebulous, incorrect and incomplete information that keeps you dancing all over the place simply because your online coach doesn't really know how to sell. Okay, just to give my perspective, I have been a salesperson, marketing person all my life, and if you read this book of mine which is called Nil Negotiation Selling, it deals only and only with tactical sales. It has chapters upon chapters of only tactical sales. What happens when the prospect is in front of you? What happens during that interaction? Most people haven't figured that out, and they're using online lead generation, more and more leads, more and more automation, more and more bullshit to cover the fact that none of these guys knows how to sell. Right? That is my pet peeve with the industry. I have due respect for everybody who's playing in the industry, but there's a lot of bullshit coaching out there, and I don't want you to get stuck with that. All right? Hence the free video. Right? Now, how do you make sure that people actually show up to your meeting, or if they haven't booked via your calendar link, then how do you make sure that they actually show up? Now, I'm talking about a beginner. That means the first time you're going online, you have to master this, because if you don't master this, all kinds of automations and lead sources and all kinds of useless funnels are not going to work for you, because just like Bill Gates said, when you apply automation to an imperfect process, the imperfections will magnify. Okay, the imperfections will magnify. When you apply automation to a perfect process, the perfection is going to magnify. All right. So what do? You take this phone number and you make sure you give them a call or something. Okay, give them a call, give them a WhatsApp message and say, hey man, saw you clicking on my link and just wanted to figure out, hey, what is it that you need? What is it that you like? And qualify them by asking a couple of questions. Now, the number one thing that enables people to have recall and attend your sales meeting, the only number one factor is the speed between the time they gave you the lead and the time they got the call back. Okay, you're going to be doing this manually if you're starting out, and you're going to master this so that when you automate this later, this thing works like a charm. Okay, the only one factor that matters between that affects show up rate is how fast you give them that call back or a message. Now today with the Facebook Business Suite, you can set up a single step automation where as soon as they sign in, boom, they get an automated message which says, hey, thanks for signing up with me. Here's a calendar, please fill it out, or whatever it is. You can do that in an automated fashion. But what I actually did in 2017, the first time I discovered Facebook Business Suite, and I was selling a 3.5 lakh rupee health product, I was calling them as soon as the leads came in. That means I had 3 times during the day that I had on my calendar, my lunch break, my coffee break, and then after 8 or 9 o'clock, I'd be calling all the leads. Why did I call them 3 times a day? First of all, this was not my primary business at that time. This was my part-time business, and I used to still have time on my calendar 3 times a day to hit up all the leads. I was getting roughly 10 leads a day, and I would make sure that they would be called super fast. Okay, I also had an assistant to make sure that he would call the leads if I couldn't, and we were hitting those leads as soon as they signed up. Okay, the most important factor is the time to respond. All right, now you can qualify these leads and make sure they are a good fit for your time. So always be the selector over here. A lot of times people, what they're doing is they've never seen these leads. If you're like me, I'd never seen so many leads in my life. So what happens is that you get these leads and you're like, oh my God, these guys are going to buy, they're interested. No, they're not interested. It's an internet lead. They were clicking left and right. They saw something, they clicked on your ad or something and they came in. So what you want to do is you want to stick out in their head. The first way to stick out in their head is that you're going to hit them as soon as the lead comes in. So that way you're going to stick in their head. And the second thing is you're going to ask them a couple of qualifying questions. Okay. It's almost like a mechanic. When you take the car to a mechanic, you say, hey, the engine shuts down after a while and this is the problem. And the mechanic asks a couple of questions. Well, when exactly does this happen? How many times does it happen? Does it happen more when you're sitting in the sun? Does it happen during a traffic light? And you're like, yeah, well, actually this happens most at traffic lights. Yeah. Okay, great. Were you in the sun at that time? And you're like, wow, that's interesting. Yes, it was hot and I was standing at a traffic stop when the engine actually shuts down, and this is what has happened 2 or 3 times. Now you know that the mechanic is a specialist. And if you're having trouble, you want to go only to that mechanic because they have already done half the job, which means they've figured out what it is. So you want to have them give you the service. Similarly, you want to appear as an expert in front of somebody. Always ask them a couple of questions which hits directly at the root cause of the problem. You don't need to give them a solution yet. You don't need to explain. You don't need to get into a discussion. But what you do is you stick out in their mind as the specialist, right? Then the next thing is the closing. If you mastered the closing, then you're going to be closing one-on-one in the beginning, and later you can transition to a webinar so that you can do one-on-many closing. All right. So the best funnel that you can use as a beginner is you run Facebook ads, get their details into a form, which could be a Facebook lead form, or it could be your own landing page. Make them a reminder call, or it could be an automated WhatsApp message or a WhatsApp voice. And once you do that, then you forward them your Zoom link where they can meet you, or you can forward them your calendar link where they can actually book themselves a Zoom meeting with you as per the slots that you have selected on your calendar. And that way you bring them into a one-on-one meeting. That is where you make the sale. All right. A lot of people make the mistake. Don't try to sell and don't try to convince, or even don't try to pre-frame on WhatsApp messages or on phone calls. That is not the place. The WhatsApp message or the phone call is only to maximize their belief or maximize their curiosity by asking them a couple of qualifying questions, which actually not only qualifies them in your eyes, but also qualifies you in their eyes, because only an expert could be asking those questions. All right. And then when you bring them onto the Zoom call, that is where you do the sell job. 2 reasons why I love the Zoom call is, first of all, you can see their body language and you can see their reaction. So it's almost as good as doing hand-to-hand sales. And the second reason I love a Zoom call is because you can record all these calls and actually go back and watch the recording and see what were the things that you said that actually made the prospect buy, or what were the things that you said that actually made the prospect recoil and not buy from you. All right. And all of this analysis is very, very important, because later when you scale the business, you will not be selling one-on-one anymore, which brings me to the next step. Once you've been able to do all of this part properly, which is how do you do the reminder call, how do you sell on Zoom, which is also a process. What are the psychology involved? What are the steps involved? I've covered in my book, Nil Negotiation Selling, very much in detail. Please go ahead and grab it on Amazon. If you just search for Rajat Sinha or Nil Negotiation Selling, you'll be able to find the book. And once you've mastered this process of selling on Zoom, then what you do is you start scaling this mechanism by going to a webinar. Now what happens is that on a webinar, you can get a lot of people into one room and sell one on many. However, in a webinar, the way I like to do it on Zoom webinar format, they are able to see me, prospects are able to see me, but I am not able to see them. And it's a one-way selling, which means I am actually doing all the talking, but there is no real feedback except probably some comments coming in from the comments box, and that's about it. This is where all the learning that you have done in doing the reminder calls and doing the Zoom selling is going to come in handy, because now you know exactly what prospects think, what is the reason they buy, what is the reason they don't buy, and you can customize the webinar and scale it in a one-to-many selling format all the way to the moon. A webinar or a free webinar done live is the ultimate scaling weapon, and this is the weapon that is going to get you to your first 10 lakh rupee month. All right. Now, when you do one-on-many selling on webinars, chances are that if you have a very big, complicated product that requires a lot of decision taking, like an insurance product, a networking product, anything that requires a lot of commitment, or even an agency service. I see a lot of service providers trying to sell their service on webinars. Probably doesn't work that well, because for any kind of complicated sale, prospects have further questions, and then instead of downgrading yourself by running a webinar and then calling them back for Q&A, which also works very well, what I recommend is that instead of selling your product or service directly, you can sell an e-version of your product or service, which could be a learning version of your product or service. It could be a consulting gig, it could be a one-on-one call that you actually sell. So on the webinar, you're going to be collecting the money right up front. Okay. You can collect money for a course that you made, you can collect money for a coaching that you made, you can collect money for a paid consultation, you can collect money for an e-digitized version of your product or service, a learning system, or whatever it is. Okay. But you have to collect the money on the live webinar, and that is what works at this next level. All right. So if you tried to sell, if you've done the Zoom selling one-on-one successfully, then then a mass selling webinar done live is the best scaling mechanism. And if you are able to do a webinar once a week for a serious amount of time, like a year or two, that is where you get to your first 10 lakh rupee month. Okay. A live webinar is the ultimate scaling mechanism. And then later, once you become much bigger of a brand and you have name in the market, when people are coming to your webinar, they already know you. Then you can turn it into an automated webinar, which is the last evolution. And after that, you are truly free of the business, and you've gone from operating the business to actually becoming a true owner or investor of the business. All right. So these are the different steps, and these are the funnels that work. And one of the things that I would like to caution you against is, please do not try to fix things in the funnel that are not broken. A lot of times people are unable to make that call effectively, reminder call, they're unable to get the people onto Zoom, or if they're on Zoom, they're unable to sell. And what they do is they go ahead and try the wrong parts of the funnel. They go ahead and try to fix the ads. They try to complain about the funnel. If you have somebody running your funnel, if you've been learning from somebody on how to set a funnel, you may even say, hey man, the funnel is not working. You may get some, what do you call this, this attractive item syndrome, where you go ahead, shiny object syndrome, where you go ahead on the internet and you go ahead and find other types of things, other learning material, other funnels, and all of that is not going to work. The number of months and years you have spent inside any one funnel perfecting it is the only factor that is going to determine whether you're going to get your first 10 lakh rupee month on it or not. So if there are factors inside the funnel that you can fix, which is mostly to do with the conversions, how you're doing the reminder calls, how you're doing the sales calls, those are the two things I have found that are the things that to be fixed. But people gravitate away from them because it requires you to look in the mirror and understand where you are not right and imperfect. And you got to fix those imperfections, and that is something that people don't want to do because they may have some ego issue or something like that. So just get your ego under control and fix yourself, fix the things that you can control, rather than going outside and finding newer and newer funnels and just buying more and more programs and buying more and more online tools and things like that. None of that stuff is going to work. The job of Facebook ads is to get people into your system, and as soon as they're in your system, they filled out the lead form, they got the landing page stuff, then it's under your control to call them and get them onto the call and learn to master the selling. Once you're able to do that, that is the hardest part. Then you can scale using a live webinar, and that is the way to get to your first 10 lakh rupee month. That is what I wanted to establish with this video, and I hope you liked it. Please comment below this video what are the parts you liked and what are some of the things that you disagree with, because I would like to know if this video really added value and you really understood what it is in your funnel that you needed to fix. Okay, so please put in your comments and probably share this video with somebody that is going to benefit from it, because if you're in the industry, you may be knowing other colleagues who can benefit from this kind of training. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.